Hello everyone and welcome back for some more Drag Race gossip, secrets and drama. So I'm back for another Have Your Say video, and this is for UK vs the World Season 2 Episode 2. And I'm sorry this video is coming out a bit late, but I've been quite busy this week and I just haven't had a chance to make this video yet. So today we'll be recapping the episode, going through the results of the Have Your Say poll where you get to vote on if you agree with the outcome of the episode, and we'll be talking about a little bit of backstage tea about Arantxa Castilla-La Mancha saying that she was bothered that some members of the cast had lied to her. All that and more coming up in today's video, so let's get started. So the queens came back into the workroom after Mayhem Miller's elimination last week, and the queens were very gagged that Mayhem was the first eliminated queen. But Marina said that the reason she saved Gothy Kendall was because she felt like Gothy deserved a chance to show more. And we also find out that the other top from last week, La Grande Dame, also chose Mayhem to go home because she felt like Gothy had more to prove. There was then a moment when the 4 UK queens had a little meeting where they were saying that they needed to stick together. And then Hannah Conda called out to everyone and said that there is an alliance going on between the UK queens and everyone should look. But the UK queen said that there was no alliance, and Tia just said that she needed some help with her corset. The next day in the workroom, Michelle comes in to announce the challenge rather than RuPaul. And although there was no real reason given, I do wonder if it's because RuPaul was quite ill in last week's episode and had a very hoarse voice. And for the mini challenge, we find out that the queens have to answer a series of slightly shady questions about their cast members and write the name of the queen down on a mirror using lipstick. The first question is, which queen is the prettiest? And Marina Summers won with 7 votes. The next question was, which queen is the shadiest? And Hannah Conda won with 5 votes, which Hannah seemed to be a bit surprised about. The next question was, which queen is the biggest competition? Hannah and La Grande Dame received a few votes, but the winner was Marina with 4 votes. And the final question was, which queen's drag is in the most need of a boost? Or in other words, whose drag is the worst? And this is obviously the shadiest question so far. Jonbers Blonde received 3 votes and didn't seem very impressed about it. But the winner was Arantxa Castilla-La Mancha with 5 votes. But Arantxa took it well and joked that she at least won something on Drag Race. We then find out that the main challenge for this week is the Happy Ending Ball, where the queens have to serve 3 fairy tale looks. The first look is Lady Prince Charming, which is a twisted take on a fairy tale hero. The second look is She-Vil Queen, which is a wicked evil queen. And the third look is Drags to Riches Eleganza, which is a self-made outfit using the scraps of fabric that were provided to make a ball gown fit for a princess. And while the queens were working on their self-made outfits, Jonbers said that she felt like she had grown from her original season to now, so she was a bit annoyed that some of the people rated her as having the neediest drag. Jonbers then asked who voted for her for that category, and only one person admitted it, which was Marina. But then a little bit later, Gothy said that she wasn't listening to the question and hadn't realised that Jonbers had asked, and she admits that she also voted for Jonbers. But that meant that there was still one more person who wasn't admitting that they voted for Jonbers. And then, when they asked Jonbers who she voted for, she at first said she didn't want to say. But then she admitted that she voted for Kater Minaj, who said that it was noted. And then everyone asked who the final person was who voted for Jonbers, and eventually Charitha May walked into the middle of the room and admitted it was her. The queens then have a walkthrough with Michelle to explain their looks, and there was a sweet moment in the workroom when Tia Coffey said that her second look is a tribute to her season 2 sister Cherry Valentine, who sadly passed away in 2022. And Tia is basing her look on Cherry's red promo look for season 2. Okay, so moving on to the runway, which is obviously the main challenge for this week. And as usual, I'm not going to be critiquing the looks because fashion is just really not my thing, but I'll give the Queen's runway commentary about the looks and any extra information. And I'll also say at the end who had my favourite look. And I'll also show the looks in order in which they appeared. Okay, so the first category is Lady Prince Charming, which is a twisted take on a fairy tale hero. The first queen is Hannah Conda, who says she's serving the campest prince you've ever seen, and it's very knockoff Disney and it's very Hannah's brand. Next we had Jonbers Blonde, who's serving Prince Farming, which is inspired by Jonbers' favourite designers from when she was a child. Then we had Arantxa Castilla-La Mancha, who said that she's serving a look inspired by David Bowie because it was fascinating that he loved to play with gender roles. Next we had Tia Coffee, who is serving Robin Hood realness, and she said she did do a Robin Hood look on her original season and this is the glow-up version. We then had La Grande Dame, who said that she is serving French haute couture design houses with Schiaparelli and Gaultier feeling. Next we had Scarlet Envy, who says she's serving a knight in shining armour who's just slayed the dragon. Then we had Kate Minaj, who said that she made this look herself and it's half armour, half not. Next we had Gothy Kendall, who said that her Prince Charming is on his way to find his princess, but secretly he wants to find a prince. Then we had Marina Summers, who said you can dive in with her sexy prince of the underwater world. And finally we had Charitha May, who said she's serving you Salvador Dali with the moustache and then Matador with the jacket. Okay, then moving on to the second category, which was Shevil Queen. First we have Hanaconda, who says she is going for a really traditional evil queen with one colour palette from head to toe. Then we had Jonbers Blonde, who said she is giving you 90s Terry Mugler realness and it's very fire-breathing dragon but fashion. And one thing I thought of as soon as I saw this look is that it's very similar to the style of Bunny B. Fly, who competed on Drag Race Thailand Season 1. And Bunny is famous because she's made several outfits for many Drag Race queens, including Jan, Rita Baga and Kendall Jenner among many others, and Bunny's outfits have a very distinct style, which is why I recognised it. And Jonbers posted on Instagram, which confirmed that the outfit was made by Bunny. Anyway, back to the episode, and the next was Arantxa Castilla-La Mancha, and she is serving you the meanest queen of all, Regina George from the movie Mean Girls. And on the back of the outfit there was also a parody of the Burn book, which is also from the movie. Next we had Tia Coffee, who said she is serving you the most iconic Cherry Valentine look, which was her red latex promo look from season 2. And this was because Cherry loved all things spooky and Halloween. Then we had La Grande Dame, who is serving the laying queen mother from the movie Alien. And La Grande Dame said it's a risk to do this type of look, but she's really proud of it. Next we had Scarlet Envy, who said her look is very angry Mother Earth energy, and she feels very empowered and she's tapping into her villain. And this villain part I thought was probably most likely a reference to Scarlett's very famous Meet the Queens moment from All Stars 6, where she said, "Am I the drama? I don't think I'm the drama. Am I the villain? I don't think I'm the villain." And this soundbite went viral on social media and became a trend. Next we had Kate Minaj, who said she is the evil queen and you can find her in the red light district riding her big monster. And one interesting thing that I saw on social media is that this look was actually made by Mama Queen, who competed on Drag Race Holland Season 1, whereas Kata competed on Season 2 of Holland, so they're Holland sisters. Then we had Gothy Kendall, who said she's mixed together the evil queen from Snow White and also Cruella to create a fashiony, sleek evil queen. Next we had Marina Summers, who said her look is inspired by one of the scariest evil queens that she grew up watching, which is Dugong. I looked this up and it appears to be from a Philippine TV show called Marina, which aired in 2004. And on the show there was a character who was an evil sea witch called Dugong. And a dugong is also a real animal, similar to a manatee, and it's also called a sea cow. Then we had Charitha May, who said that her look is paying homage to her owl look from Drag Race UK Season 3. And there was lots of purple smoke coming out of the owl, and it eventually engulfed the entire runway. And one interesting thing I saw is that on social media, a lot of people after the episode were questioning how Charitha was allowed to have something that used so much smoke. But Charitha posted a copy of the video that she had apparently sent to the producers before the season started filming, where she was showing herself testing the smoke machine, and apparently the producers approved it. And so now let's move on to the final category, which was Drags to Riches Eleganza, which was the self-made look. First we had Hanaconda, who said that she's serving you Princess of the Mice, and she said, is it fashion? It depends what you're into. And she said it's a story of her first look and her second look combined. Next we had Jonbers Blonde, who said her look is inspired by one of her other favourite designers as a child, La Croix, and it feels special to walk on the runway in an outfit that she made herself that looks quite good. Then we had Arantxa Castilla-La Mancha, who said she is serving you goth emo princess who didn't want to go to the ball but her mum forced her. Next we had Tia Coffee, who said that she is serving an above adequate dress that she made in the workroom. And this is clearly a funny reference to the commentary that Tia made during season 2 in the design challenge, when she said that her look was an adequate dress made in material that is on her body. And Tia also did the snake arms, which she also did in the same episode on her original season, which she said was to distract from the dress. And Tia said that she wanted to serve 3 looks this episode as a tribute to Cherry Valentine. Then we had La Grande Dame, who said that she is serving a gold goddess like Charlize Theron getting out of the pool, which is presumably a reference to the TV advert that Charlize did for Dior J'adore in 2018. Next we had Scarlet Envy, who said that she is serving classic Cinderella ball gown and she feels glamorous and she brought her own crown. Then we had Keita Minaj, who said everyone else was going for the princess vibe, but Keita wanted to stay true to her brand, so she's gone for a young witch who's gone to the ball for the first time. Next we had Gothy Kendall, who said that this pastel goth princess is on her way to an underground rave and she's going to go and camp it up. Then we had Marina Summers, who said she is serving a princess by the ocean and she made this mermaid cut dress to tie in with the ocean theme and she feels regal. And finally we had Charitha May, who said she is serving ugly sister going to the ball, getting the happy ending she deserves, and the owl was an inner saboteur so she decided to eat it. And in general, I did feel like everyone actually did pretty well in this. I don't think anyone did badly. I think my favourite whole package would be La Grande Dame, because I think the first look was just amazing. It was so clean, so fashion. The second look was just so unusual and was really cool. It was almost kind of like cosplay, which I thought was really interesting, totally different. And then her last look was also just really fashion, very elevated, and it was so simple but still sleek. So I think she had the best runway package. But I will say, in terms of the best self-made outfit, I actually think, in a way, I maybe slightly preferred Scarlett's. I thought Scarlett's dress just looked so cool. It looked like something that she brought from home. And I also thought that Marina's dress was incredible, and she later said on the runway that she had never made a dress before, which people said they couldn't believe, and RuPaul made the joke about pulling the trapdoor. And if that is true, that is incredible, because that dress really was insane. But let me know in the comments if you agree with that, and let me know which queen's runway package in general you preferred over the 3 looks, and whether that's different to which queen's self-made outfit you preferred. Okay, so moving on to the judges' critiques, and we find out that the top 3 are Marina, Keita and La Grande Dame. And Keita and La Grande Dame are decided as the top 2. And the bottom 3 are Hannah, Charitha and Arantxa, and Hannah is called safe, so the bottom 2 are Charitha and Arantxa. In Untucked, we see that Charitha and Arantxa are very sad because they are very close, as they are both originally from Spain. Later on the runway, La Grande Dame and Keita lip sync for the win, and La Grande Dame wins. And La Grande Dame picks Arantxa's lipstick, which sadly means that Arantxa is told to sashay away. Okay, so that leads us on to the results of the Have Your Say poll, where you voted on if you agreed with the outcome of this episode. So question 1 was, do you agree with the outcome of this week's episode, i.e. the tops, bottoms and elimination? And this week was extremely close. It was almost a tie, with 51.2% for no and 48.8% for yes. So more people voted for no than yes, but it was still very close. Question 2 was, in your opinion, who should have won this week? And unsurprisingly, with 68.2% was La Grande Dame, who did actually win, so that does make sense. The next was Keita Minaj with 13.5%, which does make sense because she was also top 2. And then we also had Marina Summers with 11.9%, which again is not that surprising because she was also in the top. We also had Scarlet Envy with 4% and Tia Coffee with 2.2%. Question 3 was, in your opinion, who should have been eliminated this week? And with 36.5% of the vote was Arantxa Castilla-La Mancha. And I guess that does make sense because she did probably get the worst critiques overall and she did end up leaving the competition, so that does sadly make sense. Although I did really love Arantxa, she seemed like a total sweetheart. Then we had Charitha May with 30.6%, which again does make sense because she was in the bottom 2, although we'll read the comments a bit later on, but it seemed like some people didn't quite agree with this. And then we had Hannah Conda with 10.4%, which again we will talk about in the comments, but it seemed like a lot of people did think that Hannah's outfit wasn't the best, which I will have to agree with, unfortunately. Although I love Hannah, I do think this perhaps wasn't her best week, although I thought the look itself was fine, but the colours were maybe a little bit too garish. And then slightly surprisingly, we had Tia Coffee with 9.7%, which is surprising because Tia actually got a decent amount in the last vote, which was who should have won this week, whereas she also got votes for who should have been eliminated this week, so that does seem a bit contradictory. And we also had Jonbers Blonde with 5.6%. Question 4 was, in your opinion, who was the best in the challenge this week? And because the ball is obviously the main challenge this week, which is the runway, this does mean that the results of this are quite similar to question 2. So we had La Grande Dame with 62.2%, Marina Summers with 19.6%, and Katie Minaj with 8.6%. But interestingly, this is actually the other way around to question 2, because in question 2, Kato was number 2 and Marina was number 3, whereas in this vote it's the other way around and Marina Summers is number 2 and Kato is number 3. And then again, we also had Scarlett and Tia being the next high-ups in this list. Question 5 was, in your opinion, who had the best runway look this week? And again, this question is obviously very similar because the runway was the challenge. So we had 56.7% for La Grande Dame, unsurprisingly. Then we had Marina Summers with 23.4%. And then interestingly, we actually had Scarlet Envy for this one for number 3 with 7.8%, which is quite unusual because that's the opposite to what the other questions were. And then it seems like Katie Minaj has fallen to 4th place in this particular question with 7.2%. So there has been quite a bit of discrepancy in these votes, which is quite interesting. Let me know in the comments what you're thinking about this is. And then finally, question 6 was, in your opinion, who is the frontrunner so far, i.e. the most likely to win the season? And unsurprisingly, we've got La Grande Dame with 58.1% and Marina Summers with 37.2%, which is the vast majority of the votes. And then in 3rd place, we had Tia Coffee with 2.3%. And I definitely think La Grande Dame and Marina are kind of the obvious choices because they've been high and won both weeks almost. So I do think that these two are going to be very stiff competition. Okay, so moving on to the comments for this week, and it was quite an interesting comment section. So first of all, we had quite a few comments from people saying they were really sad for Arantxa to go home because she seemed like such a lovely person and was kind of like the Miss Congeniality. And I do agree, I really liked Arantxa. She always seemed like she had a smile on her face and she was genuinely having fun, which to me is always something that I look for in a queen. And I also thought she brought great representation for the trans community, and I also thought it was really interesting to see her glow up and how much she's changed from her original season on España and now being on a more international audience because it's an English-speaking franchise. The next topic that came up quite a lot was about Hannah, people saying that Hannah Conda should have been in the bottom 2, maybe instead of Charitha. And unfortunately, although I do love Hannah, she's one of my favourites and I'm definitely rooting for her in the season because she's one of my favourites. I've interviewed her, she's absolutely lovely. I do have to agree that this outfit was not my favourite. I do think the construction of the dress, I will say, was pretty good and it's a solid dress. I just think that maybe the colours were just a bit too much and didn't quite go together as much as a lot of the other queens who went for quite classic colour combinations. There was also quite a few comments with people saying how much they loved Tia Coffee's tribute to Cherry Valentine. And I agree, I thought that was so lovely and I thought it was so meaningful because Cherry really was such a talented queen. It was such a sad loss. And I do think that was such a nice thing for Tia to do. And I also thought the look was amazing as well. I mean, I loved Cherry's promo look. I thought that was one of my favourite ever promo looks. It was just so cool. And I did think that Tia did it real justice. But a few people also said that they found it upsetting that they didn't actually talk about Tia's dress because I guess Tia was safe so she didn't get any judges' critiques. And I do agree, I thought it would have been nice if they maybe had just acknowledged it, even if they had just quickly acknowledged it, because I thought it was something that was worth acknowledging. And then someone else named David said that they thought Scarlett definitely deserved a high placement this week, and I think that was more because of her self-made look. And as I said earlier, I do think that was potentially my favourite of the self-made looks because it just looked so professional and it was really cool. But I guess it depends on whether you're looking at the 3 looks as a package look, not just the one look on its own. And someone did actually make a comment and said that they wished that perhaps the challenge was kind of judged more on each look separately rather than as a package 3. And they mentioned that some people did better in some categories than others. And a commenter named Alex also said that they thought La Grande Dame is such a hard hitter in the competition that no one really expected her to be such a threat. And I do think that's a really interesting point, because I do think she kind of came into the season with people maybe thinking she was a fashion queen, because she did do really well on her original season. She was a finalist. But I think it's been really interesting to see that she's actually got quite a silly side, but she also always serves glamour. And I do definitely think she's a strong contender for the crown, so she's definitely one to watch out for. And now, moving on to a little bit of backstage tea about Arantxa saying that she was bothered that some members of the cast had lied to her. So you may remember that at the beginning of the episode, all of the UK queens got together in the workroom and said that they needed to look out for each other. And Hanaconda said that there was a secret alliance. And Arantxa at the time said that it really was UK versus the world. But Tia and the other queens denied that there was a UK alliance. Well, it seems that Arantxa was a bit annoyed about this. In an interview with the Pink News after her elimination, Arantxa was asked about the alliance and the fact that the 4 UK queens had said there wasn't an alliance. And Arantxa said, quote, "I don't know why the UK queens kept trying to lie to us and say there was no alliance. We all knew it. It's called UK versus the world. Of course the UK queens are going to do an alliance. But what bothered me was the fact that they were lying about it. Don't lie, don't hide it. We all know about it. I'm not going to be mad." And in a different interview with Pride.com, Arantxa was asked what her thoughts were on the UK queens having an alliance, and Arantxa said, quote, "I think we all made the mistake of making an assumption. It's called UK versus the world, so of course when we walked in it was like, okay, it is UK versus the world, so we didn't really talk about it. But we all thought that we made a pact with the international queens that we were together. And then as the episodes go by, you realise that we should have talked about this. It's going the way that we planned." And also in an interview with Gay Times, the interviewer said to Arantxa that so far the season has felt a bit like RuPaul's best friend race because everyone seems to be getting on very well. And Arantxa said, quote, "I mean, they're nice people. There's a couple of them who are a little bit rotten, but I think they might keep the nice energy. I don't know what's going to happen. We saw some claws come out this episode and I do think they'll keep coming out. But they'll be like little kitty paws. It won't be like tigers trying to kill each other." And another interesting thing that Arantxa said in the same interview with Gay Times is that her talent show was not her original idea. And I did mention this in my last Have Your Say video because Arantxa had posted about it on Instagram. But in this article, Arantxa gave more details about it. Arantxa said that she originally wanted to do a reverse burlesque performance where she starts off with no clothes on and ends up fully dressed. But apparently they rehearsed it the day before filming, and Arantxa said that it just didn't work very well and she didn't know what to do. And so, when she went to sleep that night, Tatiana's spoken word talent show number called Same Parts from All Stars 2 came into her mind. And that's how Arantxa came up with the idea of her talent show number being about having a dream that people didn't know how to pronounce her name properly. And so Arantxa had to come up with that idea at the very last minute. Arantxa also said that what you may not realise is that when you're doing live music or a performance, you wear something called in-ears, which are earpieces so you can hear yourself, but you can also hear things like the producers and anything like that. But it also means that you can't hear anything such as people laughing or clapping. And that meant that Arantxa literally couldn't hear anything during her performance, and she wasn't sure if RuPaul was laughing or not, because she also had her eyes closed because she was pretending to dream. And Arantxa said that she was praying that RuPaul was laughing, and then when she opened her eyes and saw that RuPaul was indeed laughing, it was a big relief. And I just thought that this was some interesting behind the scenes tea and gives you an interesting insight into the production of the show. So there you go, there was the Have Your Say video for UK vs the World Season 2 Episode 2. Let me know if you agreed with this week's elimination in the comments. And also let me know who you think is most likely to win the season. I'd also like to say thank you so much to my amazing Patreon members who help support me and keep my channel going. In the You're a Winner Baby tier, we have Christian, Emerald1508, Ethan, Lisa, PC Smush, Rochelle and Rachel. And in the Shantae You Stay tier, we have Amy, Becky, Charlie, David, Linda, Shelby and Craig. Seriously, you are all such legends and your support is really so invaluable to me and my channel, so thank you all so much. And if you'd like to get early access to my videos such as this one, as well as a raft of other benefits, please consider joining my Patreon and supporting my channel, and I'll put a link in the description. Please make sure you like, comment and share this video, as it really helps support my channel. And of course, please make sure you hit the subscribe button to stay up to date about new uploads. Thanks again for watching, and I hope you'll join me again in future videos. Thank you, bye!